Last video, we set up the Radxa X4 board. We set up the heatsink, attached the standoffs, inserted the memory card, and installed Ubuntu on it. In this video, we're going to take the Viam Rover from the box and completely set it up, including installing the Radxa with some custom breadboard electronics, mounting the camera, attaching the power supply, and configuring some of the electronics from the robot itself. Once we're complete, we'll have a fully hardware assembled robot ready to install the software on. Here is the Viam Rover that we've got from the box. Also from the box, we've got a number of spare parts. This is some springs, some spacers, some extra screws, and the Allen keys. And we're going to be needing the Allen keys to this build, as well as the 4 spacers that I'm about to show you. These are the spacers that we'll be using to raise the lid of the robot so that it can fit the Radxa X4. Just a little tip when you're working with hardware, it's useful to have a small pot that you can put screws in so that they don't roll around and get mixed up. I can put these in here. So the first thing that we're going to do is take off the lid. One of the Allen keys, the largest one, will fit the bolts. Now remember that the camera goes in between the motors for when we're going to reattach the lid. Now we're going to put this aside and work with the base of the robot. Now something you might notice is that the power wires are already unplugged, and this is important so that we can mount the Radxa. We need to be able to lift this baseboard up, and these power wires get in the way, and I've already snapped both of my power wires by forgetting to do this. So don't forget that step. To remove the wires, use a flathead screwdriver and undo the screws on the screw terminal. Then the wires will just pop straight out. So what I'm going to do first is wire the Radxa board into the robot. For that, these 40-pin headers, which match one another, will be connecting these up to the Radxa using jumper wires. I have a pack like this, and I've already got a number of wires spare. The Radxa is here. What we're going to do is most of the pins will directly connect to each other using these wires. So this ribbon cable here, I'll connect a wire to pin 1 on the Radxa and also to pin 1 on this female here. There's a couple of exceptions, and that's the encoder pins, but I'll show you what to do with those when we get to that point. I'll list all of the wires that need to be connected in the description of this video. The pins are numbered from the top left here is pin 1, across from it is pin 2, down and to the left is pin 3, pin 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. Now you can look up a pin-out diagram if you prefer. For me, I prefer counting because there's so many pins that we need to connect that it's easier to just count them. So I'll start with pin 1, and I'm going to connect to all the pins on the Radxa and then all of the pins on the robot. The reason that I'm using separate wires instead of the ribbon cable that came with the robot is that the ribbon cable doesn't fit in between these standoffs. So the direct connections are all plugged in on the Radxa now, but I still want to have 2 separate connections. I want to connect to pin 38 with a separate wire with a male header instead of a female header, and as well pin 40. That's all of the wires that are going into the Radxa. The next step is to prepare the breadboard. So for the breadboard, I bought a pack of breadboards with adhesive bottoms. You can take one of these, and they're pretty small. You can unstick the binding on the bottom and stick them onto the robot. I also have this electronics kit with a lot of different components, including resistors and capacitors. I'll put the values of the resistors and capacitors needed in the description of this video. For the breadboard connections, what we want to do is we know that the breadboard connections run across, so each of these is one row. So if I place something on this cell and something on this cell, those two things will be connected together. So what we're going to do is plug in a 3.3 volt line into this row. We're going to connect a 10K resistor from that row to another row. That's going to be our pull-up resistor. However, because we need two separate circuits, we're going to do it twice. Here we have the breadboard, and we can connect the 10K resistor from the last row to another row, and then do the same again, except we're not going to connect to the same row. We're going to connect so that they are one off from each other. And that is so that we can use pretty much the same layout, but have two circuits at the same time. You can see that one is on this row, so let's say that's for the left encoder, and one is on this row, so let's say that's for the right encoder. We're next going to connect a 100 ohm resistor from each row into a new row. All we need to do now is add capacitors to ground, and that will be the final component, a 10 nanofarad capacitor. Now you can experiment with capacitor and resistor values and find whatever works for you. I tried a few different values from my kit and found the ones that worked. So in this example, one of the capacitors is going from this lane to the ground lane. The other capacitor is going from this lane to the ground lane. Now we have two circuits side by side. We plug in 3.3 volts here and ground here. For one encoder circuit, we plug the signal from the encoder here and the wire going to the Radxa here. The red squares show where the wires will go and where the legs of the electronics go. The other encoder circuit connects to the same 3.3 volts and ground lanes, but with different lanes and different input and output locations in between. So I'm now going to reassemble this setup on the red breadboard, and then I will plug in the wires. Now we want to connect the Radxa wires in. So remember that the Radxa isn't producing the input signal for the encoders, it is the output signal. So we want to put these wires at the output location. The output location, one is here, the other is here. Now we're going to connect all of these wires into this pin header, and then we're going to use this pin header to connect the encoders, the ground signal, and the 3.3 signal into our breadboard electronics. This is where keeping the wires stuck together helps me a lot, because I am connecting the pins in numerical order, and having the cables stuck together means that I'm going to connect them in the same order. That's it for the direct connections with the Radxa. Again, I'm going to use wires that are female to male to connect the Viam board. So this is the input encoder signal. The 38 pin should go to whichever cable is 38 here. So if 38 is grey, which it is for me, I look at where the resistor is going to and connect it to the other leg of that same resistor. Pin 40 will naturally be the next row along. Now our encoders are wired up. The only thing left is the ground and the power signal. So for that, we want to wire in 3.3 volts, and you can see it's printed on the silk screen of this board here. That is going to go to where the resistors are plugged into the board. Our other wire, the color doesn't really matter. If you prefer to use red and black to mean positive and neutral, that's up to you. The other wire will go to the output of the capacitors. Now we're ready to screw it down. So what I'm going to do here is hold on to these. I need to turn the robot upside down. And then I'm going to unscrew the parts that are holding this main board in. So there are 5 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I want to undo all of these from the bottom. I could do it from the top, I just find it's easier if you undo all of it. Here I'm repeatedly lifting the robot and checking where the screws are so that I can unscrew them from the bottom. With this last screw, our baseboard is free. And the reason that we want to do that is that when we are pressing the Radxa down onto this baseboard here, we want the USB ports facing to the outside of the robot. When we press this down, we need to be able to screw the standoffs in from the bottom. The easiest way to do that is to have the baseboard loose, turn it sideways, and screw in. Now this is a bit fiddly, which is why it's hard to show on video. But all I'm doing here is using the same screws that came with the custom standoffs and screwing those in through the bottom to hold the Radxa down. I'm also doing this by hand because I don't have a lot of space, but you can use a crosshead screwdriver or whatever screwdriver works with the screws that you bought for your standoffs. That's complete. That was a bit fiddly, so you might prefer to plug in the red and the purple wires or your equivalents after screwing in the Radxa board. Here I'm just going to reinsert the wires. Now the Radxa is mounted on the baseboard, but the baseboard is loose. So all I'm going to do now is screw this baseboard back in. One note here that makes it easier is that if you turn this board onto its base at the moment, it will rest on the Radxa. What we need to do anyway is add the spacers. These spacers go onto the corner cylinders so that they raise the lid up a little bit further. And if we do that now, when we turn the robot upside down, it will rest on the spacers instead of on the board. So now we have the spacers inserted and the Radxa wired in. The last part is that we need to reinsert these power cables. For that, we make sure that the screw terminals have the screw at the very top. Then we insert the wire into the screw terminal and we hold it in place while we screw the screw back down. And if you give it a gentle tug, it shouldn't have any motion. We repeat the same for the other side. At this point, everything is connected. The power board is wired in. All of the electronics was pre-assembled with the rover. The Viam is wired in and screwed down. And our extra standoffs are in so that when we put the lid on, it won't collide with the Viam. Next, we need to insert the batteries. You can see I've already done this. Inserting batteries isn't a difficult process, but I will give one tip, which is that when I plugged this in and then flicked the power switch on the power board, if you aren't seeing numbers come up, that's because the batteries aren't properly connected. What you can do is make sure to push the batteries so that they are right up against the terminals. Now the battery is lighting up the power board. There are 3 tasks left. First, we're going to make sure the electronics board is set up. Then we're going to mount the RealSense camera instead of the webcam. And then we're going to connect an external battery. The instructions for this are in the Viam Rover documentation, so I'll link that in the video description. What we want to do is make sure that the board is turned on. It will display the current battery level, so you can see that mine are pretty full. The range is from 14.8 to 16 volts depending on the battery charge. What we want to do is hold down the left button until it starts flashing with the low cutoff value. The factory default is 12. You need to set it to 14.7 as I have done here. You can use the buttons to raise or lower the voltage. So keep clicking those buttons until it reads 14.7, then wait for it to stop flashing. The other value that we need to set is the reconnect voltage. The factory default is 2, and we want to set it to 0.2. So this time hold the right button until the display starts flashing, and again use these buttons to set the value to 0.2. Then wait for it to stop flashing again. Now the power board is completely set up, we can move on to the penultimate stage, which is connecting the RealSense camera. I'm going to move the robot aside and turn it off and bring this lid. Here we already have the 720p webcam with integrated microphone stuck onto the board. It is connected using a joint here, and this is what we're going to need to undo with the Allen key. Now this comes loose, the camera is free, and we can completely remove that. The way that I have been connecting my RealSense camera is that I've just been using this stand as a back to place the RealSense camera. So I use a Velcro cable tie just to tie that on. The trick is to make sure that the USB-C port isn't obstructed by whatever method you're using to hold the camera on. As I said in the last video on the Radxa setup, make sure to continuously ground yourself or use a static strap to prevent damage to the electronics. This isn't the most stable connection in the world, and it is slightly wonky. But this is the best I can come up with the materials I've got on hand. Neither of the lenses are obstructed, and the USB port is free as well. From here we're going to bring the robot back, and we want the USB cable from the RealSense camera to go into the Radxa. So we're going to connect in here. And remember, the camera goes at the front between the motors on this side. So when we're about to put the lid on, we can connect the camera in. With the USB camera connected in, there's one last cable that I want to insert while the robot is open, and that is the power supply. So I'm going to plug into the USB-C port here, and I'm just going to leave the cable hanging out of the back. Once that's done, I'm going to tuck in the cable as best I can, then I'm going to press the lid down and finally screw it down with the original screws and the Allen key. And that's it. The Radxa is in. The robot setup is almost complete. The last thing that we want to do is give the Radxa its own power supply. It can't take a power supply directly from the robot. What I've got is industrial Velcro. I've stuck one side onto the lid of the Viam and the other side onto my battery. I'm going to connect the battery in this side. Here I can wrap this cable around. I like to feed it through here. And then if you like, and I will do this between videos, I like to hold down where the cable goes with a cable tie so that the cable isn't just loose and rattling around. Our way of turning the battery on and off is by plugging or unplugging the cable from the battery. With the cable plugged in, the Radxa turns on, and with the power supply on the side turned on, the robot itself is turned on. So that's our two power supplies, and that is our hardware assembly complete. So there we have it. We have a fully assembled Viam Rover ready to go. We have a brain, which is the Radxa X4. We have the eyes, which is the RealSense module, and we have a power supply, which is an external battery on the top of the robot. Next video, we'll look at the ROS2 source code that's running on the robot, including ROS2 control, which is a way that we can incorporate feedback from the encoders to more accurately move the robot.